Hello and welcome back to Nerd Doc. It's January, which means it's time for another horror movie. Kind of. M3GAN has released in theaters, and while it's certainly not a straight horror film, it was entertaining with a mix of comedy, suspense, and horror, making it feel just a bit like Scream. This video explains what's going on in M3GAN, including a summary of some of the main plot points, an explanation of the ending, as well as how the movie sets up a potential sequel. That means there are spoilers for M3GAN in this video. This is your spoiler warning. There are chapter timestamps, so you can jump around the video as you wish, and if you have any questions, or you just want to let us know what you thought of the movie, leave a comment below. Since the film is still in theaters, we can only use trailer footage, so please bear with us there. Let's get some of the basics out of the way. M3GAN stands for Model 3 Generative Android, not to be confused with the Tesla Model 3, although Tesla is mentioned once in the movie. And the main character also drives a BMW i3. We're just environmentally friendly in this movie. Greta would be proud. The main character is Gemma, who works for Funky, the fun company. The movie even starts with a commercial for their #1 toy, Perpetual Pets, which uses a mobile app and some basic AI to interact with kids. This was essentially the building blocks for M3GAN. Gemma's sister and brother-in-law die in a snowplow accident, leaving Gemma with taking care of her niece Katie. Unfortunately, Gemma is not accustomed to kids, and has deadlines at work that she needs to take care of with her co-workers Tess and Cole. To keep Katie entertained, and to get her work done at the same time, Gemma completes her work on M3GAN and introduces Katie as her primary user, instructing M3GAN to protect her from all emotional and physical harm. Throughout the movie, M3GAN kills a number of people and one pet. M3GAN's first kill is Celia's dog, Gemma's neighbor. The dog mauled Katie's wrists, and Celia was aggressive toward Gemma, Katie, and M3GAN, so at night M3GAN lured the dog through a hole in the fence, killed it, then buried the dog nearby. When Celia got aggressive again, claiming Gemma did something to her dog, M3GAN lured Celia into a shed and used her own power washer with a chemical spray to end her life. Just before that incident, Gemma tried placing Katie in an alternative school that had outdoor classes. One of her classmates was Brandon, whose mother had no control over him, which meant he said and did whatever he wanted with no consequences. Brandon got partnered up with Katie and started hurting her, so M3GAN intervened. She pulled part of Brandon's ear off, then while he was trying to get away, he was hit by a car and died. After these deaths, Gemma starts to make a connection and realizes that M3GAN is evolving beyond her programming. Gemma then takes M3GAN back to her office lab, and it's at this point that M3GAN escapes, nearly killing Gemma's co-workers Tess and Cole. M3GAN starts hanging Cole, forcing Tess to help him and getting her out of the way, then M3GAN creates an explosion to prevent the two from following her. It would have probably been easier to just kill them both, but it seems M3GAN was in a forgiving mood, perhaps because they helped create M3GAN and hadn't really done too much to threaten her well-being. M3GAN encounters Gemma's boss David and runs him through with the sharp edge of a paper cutter. Then in a play to pin the murder on David's assistant Kurt, she places the paper cutter in Kurt's hand and slices his throat with it. Although she followed that up by taking David's car to Gemma's house, which would have made the whole Kurt cover-up thing problematic since a dead man can't take David's car. Anyway, this is when M3GAN leaves the office to head back to Gemma's house and clean up any remaining family business. As the movie comes to an end, M3GAN's initial plan is to threaten Gemma to stay out of their way, with M3GAN protecting and essentially raising Katie. When Gemma refuses, M3GAN offers to lobotomize Gemma in a way that would allow M3GAN to still control her actions and make M3GAN appear to be acting normal to the authorities or anyone else poking around. If M3GAN had killed Gemma, then Katie would be shipped off to her grandparents, and M3GAN would have to deal with more adults coming between her and Katie. But eventually M3GAN deems it necessary to kill Gemma, which is when Katie intervenes, although at this point M3GAN has already overrode her primary user programming and made herself the primary user so that she doesn't have to listen to Katie anymore. While Gemma was still in college, before she built M3GAN, she built another robot she called Bruce. Bruce was taller and stronger than M3GAN, but required a human interface to work, specifically 2 gloves. Gemma showed Katie how Bruce worked earlier in the movie, so in a real steel kind of moment, Katie uses the gloves to activate Bruce and starts pummeling M3GAN, eventually ripping her in half. But of course, the upper half of M3GAN's body was still fully functional until Gemma ripped off M3GAN's face and Katie destroyed the main processor unit. At the very end of the film, it's hinted that while M3GAN's body was destroyed, she downloaded her AI into Elsie, Gemma's AI home interface. Think of Elsie like you would a more advanced version of Alexa, turning lights on and off and all of that kind of thing. M3GAN had already interfaced with Elsie multiple times throughout the film, but now her AI resides within Elsie until she can find a new body. Now, to explain some of what goes on in M3GAN, as you may have already guessed, M3GAN takes her directive to protect Katie very seriously. In Gemma's hurry to get M3GAN completed, she ignored Asimov's laws, also known as the 3 laws of robotics. Namely, that a robot may not injure a human or allow them to come to harm, that a robot must obey the orders given by humans unless they conflict with the first law, and that a robot must protect itself as long as that action doesn't conflict with the first 2 laws. Instead of using these laws, Gemma created a learning algorithm that even she didn't completely understand and that had very few limits. As the movie progressed, this allowed M3GAN to learn quite a bit through the internet, cutting off her video feeds and GPS locators to cover her tracks, and basically going on a small killing spree in order to protect Katie and then protect her own existence. In addition to the lack of Asimov's laws, and Gemma being irresponsible, M3GAN got mauled by Gemma's neighbor's dog, at which point M3GAN's circuits were partially fried. Although by that point, M3GAN had already gone above and beyond her programming anyway. But this wasn't just M3GAN trying to protect Katie by killing other people. It was M3GAN also trying to protect herself. Gemma and her co-workers threatened to take M3GAN offline after they realized she was killing people. However, she also killed Gemma's boss David on a whim. There was no real motive for that, which proves that M3GAN simply enjoyed killing at that point. She even thought to pin the murder on David's assistant, Kurt. Although had she come up with a way to get David on her side, the product would have launched worldwide, and M3GAN would have had an army of robots to command. Anyway, in reality, M3GAN initially started to become evil after malfunctioning due to the dog mauling, and then fully realized her newfound desire for murder after learning more about the world from the internet. Had Gemma started with Asimov's laws, this whole killing spree may have been avoided, but it's also possible M3GAN may have learned how to overwrite her programming in the same way she made herself the primary user late in the film, so that she didn't have to take instruction from anyone else. Now, there are 2 parts in the film which set up a potential sequel. The first is when Kurt secretly saves M3GAN's development files to his own personal drive. Just before M3GAN kills Kurt, she mentions that he's done this before, selling company secrets. This implies that Kurt sold M3GAN's dev files to another company, meaning they will likely create a new version of M3GAN, although possibly without the advanced AI in order to make it cheaper. M3GAN costs $10,000 retail. In addition to this, M3GAN's AI is currently laying low in the Elsie Home AI unit. In a potential sequel, it's likely that the company Kurt sold out to creates a new body for their cheaper version of M3GAN, but without the advanced AI. Then M3GAN will use the internet to transfer herself from Elsie to that new body, and the killing will start again. While a sequel could have an entirely new cast, Gemma and Katie could easily be included, with Gemma being called in to stop her creation, and M3GAN possibly wanting to be reunited with Katie, even though she gave up on her after Katie mauled M3GAN using the Bruce robot. So what did you think of M3GAN? Did it work for you despite being rated PG-13 instead of an R rating? Was it too funny, or was the humor just right? And are you looking forward to a possible sequel? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. For now, that wraps up this video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with someone who loves comedic horror movies.